Welcome back to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, we spend a good day and a half battling the front border, a much neglected area that's been on my get round to it list or I'll get back to it list, whichever. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I'm the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good morning. Well, it's Thursday morning and it's just literally after 9 a.m. and I'm out in the front garden today. I plan to spend a good part of the day, if not all the day at least, getting this front area. Now originally I said I was just going to do the big front long border, but I've got out here this morning and everything basically from the arbour down needs attention. So I'm going to start with the arbour. The rose is, because of all the wet weather and things like that, the rose has sent out a huge number of suckers, so I'm going to tidy that up. Then I'm going to head along the border. Not going to lift the irises today. I am going to do that in the very near future. So I'll just sort of bypass them. I've got two patches, but there's weeds. The first lot of sweet pea that had been in the punnets for a long time that I wintered over. They're gone. They're past their best. There's some dry pods on there, so I'll grab them for seed. The second lot are doing really well. They're the ones I directly planted, but they just need tidying up around so that you can actually see them. Then I'll head around the corner. I did get out a lot of that, I think it's called Ichium blue bender or whatever it was. I got a lot of that out one day a couple of weeks ago, but there's still heaps there that needs to come out, and that's the plant that I call the itchy plant, which I removed from one of the boxes, the one that's just behind the camera at the moment. Did that several weeks ago, so need to head back around there. A lot of the cornflower done, the dianthus need tidying up. Poppies are done. I can see in the distance that the big peony poppies, they're big heads, they are dry now, so I'll harvest them. Probably should have harvested them a few weeks ago, but yeah, it is what it is. And just, yeah, basically head towards where the drive is and work my way through there. If I get all that done today, which I'd be really, really pleased because there'll be lots of interruptions, yeah, I'll be over the moon and I'll think about doing something else, just see how things go. So my plan would be just to set up the camera and do some recording and do a bit of speedy and some music. And as the day evolves, I may stop and do a bit of commentary, a bit of chatting to you as well. So we'll just see how things plan out. Like all gardening, just see where the garden leads you. Rose is tidied up. Now I'm going on to the sweet pea, which you can just see in the frame here. As you can just see a cat there as well. Both of them are out here this morning with me. Going to take this out, and as you can see, it's got some wee pods which have got the seeds in, and they're well dry, so I'm going to grab them and pop them into a container for later. Half the reason these didn't do too well was that they'd been left in the container too long. And the reason they've gone to seed so quickly is because I just didn't pick them. Reason I don't pick them, hubby doesn't like the smell in the house. So I do give them away, pick them and give them away, but with these ones, they weren't exactly stunningly amazing. So I'll collect the seed, but yeah, I mean, you need to have really healthy plants in general if you're going to collect seed, but sorry about the background noise today. It's pretty busy around here in the general vicinity. So I'm going to quickly harvest those and then we'll move further on. as you can see, there's a whole lot of other sweet pea there, that are looking really good. So I'll have a quick look at them and see how they're going and nip out any pods, flowers that have gone over, so I just can keep them going for a lot longer. Okay, that's them done. I've got a few pods. Some of them are actually already opened, but I'm going to leave the obelisk here anyway over winter, and they're going to get more sweet pea come next season. But I'll harvest those and we'll go from there, but I'll keep moving that way and we'll have a look at what's going on here. Bit of a strange angle, but anyway, this is the cranberry that I put in all those months ago. It had some flowers, it's fruiting. I don't know when the fruit's actually ready. It looks ready to me. I'll give it a squeeze and see what happens. No, quite hard still. So we'll keep an eye on it and see how it goes. But yeah, so that's good. And then I've got my other sweet pea here, which is sort of got a bit unruly, so I might see if I can strap it in a bit and see if I can make some more sense of it. It's just starting to spit with rain, so hopefully it just quietly does that. It's quite warm out here, but just starting to spit with rain. So let's see if I can make some more sense of this. It in. It was just too much of a mess, so I've just given it a bit of a trim back, and the flowers that have come off I'll just pop inside somewhere that hubby won't smell them and enjoy them myself. But unfortunately, like so much in the garden at the moment, it's got powdery mildew too, especially around the bottom, so we'll have to see how well it does. But the colours are amazing. I like these, and I can't remember what they were. We did talk about it way back when I planted them. Oh, hang on, here might be a label. What does it say? Oh, Old Spice, that's right. I knew it was an aftershave's name. So yeah, they are definitely a lovely one, and I'll do them again. So I'll definitely let this one do its full cycle of getting into its seeds and what have you, because I want to save the seeds. I mean, sweet pea seeds are just so expensive, so if you save your own, all the better, and it's so easy. So yep, so I'll just keep letting it flower and for a while, and I'll just nip off the flowers as they go, so I get at least another month, maybe 6 weeks out of it, and then I'll let the pods form and I'll get some seeds from it, so all the better. Right, on to my area of shame. So this is the far end of the border, the big long border, and it's at the junction of the one that comes from the arbour. And yeah, it's not great. It's full of thistles again, and this Echium bender thing as well. So I'm going to have to spend some substantial time cleaning this out. I'll film a wee bit of it and do a bit of speedy and some music, but you won't want to watch the whole lot. It'll take me hours, I'm sure, because while ripping it out is reasonably fast-ish, chopping it all up isn't, and I have to chop it all up because I've only got so much bin space. So yeah, really annoying. So it's just coming up 10 o'clock. I'm going to get started and see how far I get before lunch. Hopefully I'll at least get this area done. And see how I go. Once I run out of bin space, I'm going to have to go to those sacks that I use, that I get my compost in, because if I pop it into something like a wheelbarrow or what have you, I'm going to have to pick it all up again to dump it in the bin when the bin actually gets emptied, which isn't until Tuesday next week. So by having it in the bags, all I've got to do is tip the bag up upside down, hanging onto the bag, not actually having to touch the stuff, and then just shake it back into the bin. Even with gloves, the stuff gets through and it's really uncomfortable, itchy, and the thistles, of course, I don't have big thick gloves. I've just got standard gardening gloves, which the thistles just go straight through. So anyway, and I'd see that some of those thistles are starting to put heads up. I need to get them out before they start seeding. So off I go. Okay, so it's about 11:30. I'm not getting far fast. I've finally chopped up all that stuff that you saw me just pull out before. I still haven't moved from this corner, so I'm going to keep moving and see how I go. There's a whole lot of thistles, and I need to chop back the red carnation / dianthus. It's not red, it's hot pink, and clean up this area a bit more before I can even move on from this corner. So yeah, this might be a 2-day job, just with all the interruptions. I've just lost like 20 odd minutes because I had a visitor and a whole lot of other things. So yeah, time's flying. Okay, we'll keep moving. Right, it's just coming up 12ish, or is 12. And I've managed to actually clear most of that now. I've got to just go around the other side and do the thistles and finish trimming up the pink carnation dianthus thing. So loads to go. So I've got some hollyhocks just there that you may be able to see in camera shot, but right next to it, I'm pretty sure, is another Ichium bender. I've got more thistles here, and another bit of Ichium bender that are burying a common thyme plant that I need to tidy up. And at the moment this area is clear, and I'm going to leave this clear. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's a rose just there, and it's not very well at all. It's got a couple of branches heading that way. That's been buried yet again, and I had hoped to keep it clear this year, and I just didn't do it. So what I am going to do over winter is I'm actually going to move it to this way a bit, sort of probably a good 30, 35, maybe 40 centimetres into the middle here. And I actually need to top this end of the bed up. It is sunk significantly, so it needs new compost and what have you. So I'll dig it out, I'll add compost and things like that, and I'll probably lift the dianthus as well. And there is a very sick looking lavender there, which I'll also move if it takes off. If not, I've got other lavenders I can move. So I'll give that corner, that whole end, to the dianthus, move the rose, and see where the lavender can go. Behind me, which I've already sort of worked at, is I've got a second load of irises that I'm going to lift in a week or so. And I'm not going to replant them there. I'm just going to have the ones down the far end of the bed here by the arbour. And I may put the lavender there. It just need to be careful because the sweet peas may just fall onto it. So I'll have to think more about that. But definitely, rose being moved, the lavender's coming out, and if it's okay, moved. And the whole bed here is going to be raised. I've lifted the soil level further along a bit as it's become bare, but this area has never really been bare since I put this bed in and put the soil in. So it really, really, really needs to be topped up. So anyway, I'm going to go and get some lunch, and then we'll come back out and keep moving. Right, I'm back from lunch. I've done a wee bit of watering out of the back, just seeds and things like that to make sure that the topsoil's moist. I also have finished here, and I had to get a bit of family help for a particularly stubborn thing just over there by the hollyhock, which has now fallen over, but I've got a couple of stakes there that I'll fix it up with in a minute once I've finished in the next bit that we're about to do. So I'm happy with that. The rose can sit there and get moved later in winter, and I've cut the dianthus way, way, way back, but it'll come away again, and as I said, probably dig it up and move it. Right, so it's good. Heaps and heaps of dianthus seeds everywhere, so I'm bound to get some baby dianthus as well, but it is what it is. I can give them away. I've given up on the, well, I haven't given up, I've filled the green bin. It's completely full. So I've already started on the bags. So yeah. Right, next bit. So I'll move the camera and we'll tackle the next section and see how we go. There's still some of the blue bender there that needs to go, but nowhere near as much as what I've already done. I've got 1 or 2 thistles left, but nothing compared to what was over there, and I've dug the thistles right out the base as much as I can again. The common thymes there, it needs a tidier haircut. It's looking very shaggy and unloved at the moment. So yeah, move the camera and show you the next bit. The next section. So somewhere under there, as I said, it's the common thyme. There is a fuchsia under there somewhere. The cornflower are over, so I've really just got to start pulling things out and see what I can find. So we'll do a bit more speedy and a bit more music and see how I go. So I've just finished this area. I've tied up the hollyhock, which you may or may not be able to see in shot. I have given the common thyme a really big haircut and right around the edge and on the top, but I am thinking it's getting near its end because it's very woody, but it's probably going to self-seed. It did last year, so I'll wait and see if I get anything from there. If it does, then I'll use that and get rid of that. The cornflower over there, I've tied them up as best I can. They've got probably another 2-3 weeks worth of flowers on them, so they're nice colour at the moment. Otherwise, this bed's been completely cleared out of stuff, including quite a lot of thistles and other weeds. And I'm about to head on to the next part, see how much further I go. It's about just after 2:30 now, so I'm starting to run out of steam. It's also got warm and sticky, so but if I don't get this finished today, I will definitely 100% be back out here tomorrow to finish it, no matter what I have to do out the back garden. There's heaps out there to be done as well, but yeah, I will be back out here. I am going to finish this front border. So I'm going to have to move in over there at the moment, but Lou's hiding in underneath there, so he's not going to be very happy with me. We'll just have to see how we go. Lou's right in there. Anyway, I'm going to give this a wee bit of a tidy up. It looks like it's even got a wee bit of powdery mildew, which isn't great. But yeah, I think I'll give it a wee bit of a clip back because it's looking a bit shaggy and not particularly happy looking. So Lou's not wanting to move. He's just hiding there. I'm not quite sure what he's up to, but here comes a paw. I'll just have to watch his paws and the clippers. So I do not need a quick trip to the vet. I wouldn't want... Oops! Don't know what that was. What are you doing, bud? Hey? You okay? So I'm just going to keep clipping away at this quietly in between dodging Lou. And when I'm done, we'll come back. I got Lou to move. It was a bit of an issue, but I've sort of taken off some of it. I need to get over the other side and do the rest in a minute. But something I wanted to show you, other than the stalks that I've taken off, is this. So this is nightshade, and it's probably deadly nightshade because Canterbury's the only place in New Zealand that I know of that actually gets the deadly nightshade, and you can see the berries on there. I get it unfortunately due to the birdies dropping the seeds, so I will be getting rid of that. But look at the roots on that. It's absolutely massive, and that's, thankfully I don't get too much of it in the garden. But yeah, you don't really want it to get away on you. But I'll get rid of that and keep going along here. Right, I've done a bit more after turfing low and got in there, but it's getting really hot and sticky out here, way past what I enjoy. So, plus I've sort of run out of steam, so I'm going to go inside in a few minutes and we'll continue this tomorrow. What I've probably got about just a wee bit more than half the bed to do. So, and the worst is done. As far as thistles and that horrible ichium stuff. So the rest of it's just things like dianthus. I've got to tidy back the lavender. I've got to find a couple more stakes for the hollyhocks, tidy up around the rose, which is doing really well. And sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. And then I've got some marjoram or oregano down there that's in full flower, and I may have to work around that because the bees are just absolutely swarming it at the moment, which is lovely, and it's got a beautiful white sort of flower all over it. Sorry, the neighbour's dog telling me off. Yeah, so I'm going to give it up for today and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Good afternoon. Well, it's Friday. It's just on 1 o'clock, and today is day 2 of the great front border tidy up. I had to call it something. Yeah, so I couldn't get out here this morning, had other things that I had to get done. So I'm out here now looking at what I got done and what needs to be done. I've still got around about 2/3, to be honest, while a wee portion of that 2/3 is sort of started. Still got a lot to do. Yeah, so I'm going to be head down, bum up, trying to get this done because I really want to get all the way to the end today. I got to get out into the back garden. There's stuff out there, like I nipped out this morning just to water the top of the parsnip and onion seeds and things like that and put the hose on for the strawberries. And yeah, there's heaps that needs doing out there at the moment. The onions are all gone over and with the finer weather need to get them harvested. And unfortunately my spinach has bolted and it's meant to be a summer version. So there's things that need to be done there. So anyway, stop talking and I'll get on with this and we'll do a bit more speedy and a bit more music and see how far I get. Hopefully I get a long way today. I still have to find some stakes and things like that for the hollyhocks, so I might nip off before I start up doing the speedy and see if I can find some stakes out the back. I've got to be mindful I need some extra stakes for the peas as well. So anyway, I'll be back soon. A bit more done. I need to go on to the other side of the border, which is always more difficult because unfortunately when we built the border it was meant to be right up against the curb and easy for me to just get to from the curb, but due to some issues around and really legit reasons, but around services that ended up having to go in underneath the ground, we had to move the planter back a wee bit. So now I've got this little weird strip that is only about, probably about 15 centimetres, but it does allow access to the surfaces and will mean that the boxes don't get disrupted. But it does make it a wee bit more difficult for me to access them as far as balancing and things concerned. But it is what it is, and you have to roll with that. But what I need to do is, and I'll move the camera probably over so you can see, is I need to tie up the hollyhocks over there, tidy up the lavender that's just past it on that side, and do the rose pruning. And the one thing you can't see at the moment, and you will be able to see in a few minutes once I get over there, is that there are some very past it poppies, but they're the big peony poppies, and I want to take the heads off and save the seeds because they do beautiful flowers. Hopefully I haven't left them too long. They're quite dry. May have lost a bit of seed out of them, but they have so much seed in each one, so I'm hoping I've still got plenty. So once I've done all that and got back to this point here after I've cleaned out all that on the other side, comes a bit of a decision, and we'll look at that in a few minutes. And it's around, pretty sure it's the mushroom, or is it the oregano? I'll have to look it up and I'll put it on the screen because I always get these two mixed up, because it's in full flower and I can see the most ginormous bumblebee on there at the moment, and the bees are just swarming it as well, so I don't really want to disrupt that. So it might be sort of tidy up around it. We'll have a look closer to the time. I've definitely got to take one of those big poppy things out from around the middle of it. So we'll get there. So let me reposition the camera and me, and we'll get around the other side and do this stuff. Right, change camera angle and change perspective. So I'm not sure if you can see, here's the thing. It's probably, actually looking at it now, it's probably about 30 centimetres wide, and originally the box was meant to be right up here, except for it's now 30 centimetres more. And you may not be able to see, but there's the curb here, and I'm sitting in the gutter. I'm not on the street. This is a private drive, long driveway, so no car's going to zoom past me and splat me. But that does pose a bit of a navigation risk for me, so I have to be really careful when I'm over this side, and it means that I can't work from the chair directly, so I have to sort of either perch on the side, which is reasonably easy because it's got quite a wide board there, or stand. So I end up standing and sitting a lot more than what I would on the other side. But yeah, it is what it is. But one thing I wanted to show you before I talked about that, oh hang on, there was one other thing too, memory. So in the raised bed talk I did X number of weeks ago in another vlog, I talked about length of your raised bed, and that the one thing I would have done differently with this bed is to actually have another access point, because it's probably a good 15 metres long, maybe longer. Just trying to remember. So well, most people wouldn't give two monkeys about walking around and back all the time. It does tire me out. So yeah, and interestingly, one of my kids said yesterday, "Mum, why didn't you put another entrance at the other end?" And I said, yeah, well, it was meant to be this border thing. And while it's worked out well for that, like a sort of a faux fence sort of thing, it does have that one glitch, and in hindsight, yeah, I would have probably done that, but I didn't. So, hindsight's always 20/20. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is ice cream containers. Now, I find ice cream containers absolutely amazing for the garden. We don't eat a lot of ice cream. Sorry about my hair, it's really windy today. Well, easterly anyway. We don't eat a lot of ice cream, but being in a small community, you put a post out and people have got heaps of it because they've got kids and things. So I collect them and I do all sorts of things with them, from having plants in there soaking in them to having small containers or sheep pellets so I can have them in my storage unit in the back garden, all that sort of thing. And one of the things I find really useful at this time of year is for seed collecting. And normally what I do, doesn't matter if it's what colour it is, I'll write the name either on the bottom or on a plant stick and just throw it in there. And as long as the seed pods aren't wet, you can usually get away with just leaving them in there. If they are damp again, or even tiniest amount of dampness, I do lay them out on one of my propagation trays that I've got, one of the green solid ones, and pop a handy towel at the bottom, and that just gives them more air and less likely for them to go mouldy and rot. But I'm going to use this today to get the big poppy, so we'll get that. So now I'm over this side, I'm going to do a bit of work, so we're going to do some more speedy and some more music. Okay, so here we go. Well, sorry about that. Can't get the driver and everything else sorted. So these are the pods that I'm talking about, and I knocked them before and some seed came out, so yeah, they're definitely ready to come. So with these, it's just about snipping them off and dropping them in. And I can, just as I knocked that one, I could see some seed come out, and again more seed coming out. So they are definitely ready. So I don't want to knock them too hard because I don't really want seed in the grass, but I've probably got a heap already. But yeah, so I'm going to collect all these, and then once I've got them seed heads off here, I'll pull the rest of the plant out, which is well and truly died. I could have harvested these a few weeks ago, but they were very green, and I thought it's probably better to mature on the plant rather than inside. So that's why I didn't. And we'll open one of these up at some point and I'll show you what they look like as far as seeds are concerned. Okay, I got that done. That was a bit of a mission. So I'm actually going to make some significant progress all of a sudden because I'm going to do a bit of a skip. So this plant here, after a bit more research and what have you, pretty sure is the marjoram. So it's covered in flowers at the moment. There's bees and bumbles, and I'm just going to leave them. Then I've got my big fuchsia. So it's looking really good. I'm not going to touch it. Next to it is the oregano. Okay, and there's some poppies on the other side that are past the use by date, so I'll just pull them. And the lavender just on the other side, that just needs to tidy up, so that won't take a huge amount of work, so that's good. So that will get me pretty well towards the far end of the bed. And then I've just got, what have I got? Some hollyhocks, which I can't tie up because I've run out of stakes, and a rose that just needs clearing a wee bit, and a whole lot more poppies and a whole lot more cornflowers, all past the use by date and fallen over, so I just need to clear them. So I'm making progress, and it's just coming up 2:30, so I'm really, really pleased. But upwards and onwards. done. Thankfully, it's done. It's about 3:45, so I'm really pleased. Got everything that I want out or tidied up or trimmed up, so that's excellent. Going through the whole bed, it seriously needs a top up, so that's something I'm probably going to work on slowly over the next 4 to 8 weeks. What are we now? End of January? Yeah, because I want it ready so that I can get my bulbs in for, get them in autumn for spring. So I want that sorted. I'm probably going to have to search around and look for where the bulbs already got in there are, because they might be too deep once I top it up. So I'll need to sort that out. And things like the rose that needs moving and lifting, what I'll do is I'll isolate it somehow with something so that it's not covered in dirt, and then when I'm ready I can, midwinter, I can dig it up and then pop it into its new place. Some of the things that I've cleaned up and tidied up, like there's a huge white carnation that's just normally here. It had done, it's done its full second season. It was huge. It had just grown and grown and grown, and had put out some amazing flowers and things. It had died back considerably, sort of 90%. So I've pulled all that off right down to the base of so it's just a nub now. Now it may not take off again. I can see a few wee shoots. It may. If it does, great. If it doesn't, well, that's okay, because I'll probably have to dig it up at some point anyway to lift it up for the new soil. Looking at this, I'd probably need, what am I down? Yeah, I'm down a good hand's worth, so about 15 centimetres. So I need to put in about 15 centimetres worth of depth of soil for the whole lot. So it's going to take a fair whack. Now, some of it I'll get away with by using the stuff out of my pots for my greenhouse and things, because I like to put new soil in each year into those. So anything like that I'll dump into here and it'll all add to it. I haven't got anywhere near as enough compost to do my own compost, and I prefer to keep that for the veggie patch anyway. So it's all going to be this bought stuff that I get, the what do I call it, super gross stuff. Yeah, brain's starting to frizz. I'll do that over the next number of weeks. Yes, I could probably buy in a big truck full and have it dumped on the drive and what have you, but that means I've got to work to the time of having it sitting in the drive. What I tend to do is every time I go into town, I buy 4 to 6 bags of it. Yes, it is more expensive doing it that way, but it makes it more manageable for me, time-wise, as well as moving it around. Because on my good days, I can drag it around. On my not so good days, I can get family to drag it to where I want it, and it's there when I need it. So, yeah. It works out for me better that way. I mean, I must admit, some days I wish they did half bags of it. I know they do half bags of topsoil, but not super grow. Just because it makes it easier to move. But if I can drag it around, it's fine. So yeah, I'm pleased with this, and definitely will need to replace a few things and or move them. So that's all right. Right, I think I've done my dash now for the day. The easterly's blowing, which, yeah, it's annoying, but actually it's been able to take off the heat of the day because the sun's come out and it's got quite, you can feel the heat in the sun. So having that wind has made it easier to work. Right, I'm going to leave it there for now, and I'll catch up with you at the coffee and chat. Well, it's that time of week again for a coffee and chat, and it's going to be a quick coffee and chat today. It's actually Sunday morning, and the vlog's due out at 5, and I have spent a considerable amount of time trying to edit it this week. I've took way too much film, so we'll make this quick. What you can't see at the moment is Bo. He's right there, right beside the camera, checking it out. So if it suddenly goes, it's because he's knocked it. So what do we do this week? Well, drunk a lot of coffee and yeah, we've tidied up the front border, which basically was it as far as my outside work was concerned. I did have some stuff about seeds and what have you, but I had to edit all that out because just not enough time. So I was just so happy I got that front border done because it's been sitting there, really knew I needed to get to it. Knew I had to beat the thistles to getting out, them throwing out more seed and what have you. And every time I looked at it, of course it was in the front garden, I went, but it's done now. There is still considerable amount of work to do, but not around tidying, but it's, like lifting the soil level up and and moving some of those plants around. So that's going to take time. And since I did the original filming, I thought about it as well, that at the same time as doing all that, because I've cleared so much, I'm going to put the irrigation system in there, because despite all the rain that we've had, it was still really dry in there. And if I can get a lot of the irrigation into the front borders, that will free me up to do other things, because watering, while I love doing it, does take a considerable amount of time. And I've got several other projects on the run at the moment, and I don't have that time at the moment that I would want to give it. So, yeah, that's it. Right, as I said, I'm going to make this short. So I just want to thank everyone who has subscribed to date. Really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, it is free, remember. So, if you want to get notifications and see what I'm up to in the garden, please subscribe. It really does make my days seeing those subscriber numbers going up. I'm going to wish you a happy and safe week and hope you have fun in the garden. And until next week's vlog, stay safe and bye for me.